Here we go, and we're live. So, welcome live again from Barcelona, where we're spending the week with our mastermind members, trading live and watching this market action. And boy, there is some action going on. So, yesterday, markets made a new all time high, but we knew that today, CPI data being released, and we have the Fed meeting. So, what's happening in the markets? Well, all I can tell you, there is a strong reaction to the CPI report in the market. So we'll talk about this. We'll talk about Apple surging 7% and making a surprise move there. So we'll talk about this. And we'll show you also how we are trading these markets. With that said, welcome to Coffee with Markus and Mark. Today is Wednesday, June 12th.
Yes.
Wow. What a day. Mark, where do we even start?
Well, S&P, good place. Look
Let's
at
maybe
that.
start with the E-mini S&P and
Okay.
overnight action.
Okay.
So let's switch over to a 5-minute chart here so that we see what has been happening.
Yeah, so we know this week it's all about the Fed. The Fed has their 2-day policy meeting wrapping up this afternoon or this evening since we're in Barcelona. But that's not the only thing that was potentially going to move the market. And overnight we were quiet, we were sideways, and then this big jump pre-market.
Big jump, huge. And this is the CPI report because today we had a double whammy. The consumer price index and Fed meeting. So consumer price index being released and being a surprise. Let's take a look at the economic calendar and see what exactly happened there.
Look at that. So core CPI down a tick, actually coming in a tick lower than forecast. The forecast was 0.3%. CPI excluding, or no, that one includes energy and food. We see comes in at 0.0 and the forecast was 0.01. And year over year CPI coming in a tick lower at 3.3%. Year over year, this is the lowest we've seen since April of 2021.
Is it? Because I was looking into this and I was really, I thought that we had some
Look at that.
lower numbers.
Look at this.
Okay. Let me see if I can zoom in.
Year over year.
Had this uptick. So now everybody gets excited. Hey, it's moving lower again. So maybe the Fed is winning the fight against the inflation. And this is why there is fireworks in the morning, especially since this afternoon we will hear from the Fed what they think about it and what they will do with interest rates for the remainder of the year.
Exactly, because the market wants rate cuts, especially if the economy remains strong. So, traders, investors getting excited if the economy is running solidly and the Fed can cut rates. And then the discussion on whether or not the Fed's going to cut once or twice versus the 3 times that was expected, or even potentially more earlier this year. And now the debate goes between 2 and 1, and we'll see what the Fed says.
Yeah. And the Fed kind of doesn't care about the CPI at all. That is not the number that they're looking for. They're looking for the core PCE index. That is their benchmark number. However, there's quite a few components that are so. I mean, if CPI is coming down, most probably the core PCE index will come down, but that is actually their benchmark number.
And on a positive note, they're really looking for a trend, right? They're saying, "Hey, we're looking at data. Data is what is going to drive these decisions." And we see that based on the trend, things have kind of gone flat, and now we might be changing into even deflation there.
Yeah, and we see that there's still shelter inflation that increased 0.4% on the month and 5.4 from a year ago. And we know that Powell said, I don't care. This will come down. I already know it. There's the largest lag between raising interest rates and the housing market. So he's not concerned about this. So if we take this out, basically means it's going in the right direction because we see a 2% drop in energy, 0.1% increase in food without the energy component, gas prices down 3.6%, motor vehicle insurances that also was up. I mean, it's still up 20% on an annual basis, but now a 0.1% monthly decline. So all of this is good news and pointing into in the right direction.
I think we need to look at Fed funds futures.
Yeah, we need to do that because this is where, if you look at what traders are expecting right now, it has changed dramatically from just 2 days ago.
Yeah, look at this. So one cut was pretty much on the table, and we know that the Fed is they're not going to make any cuts today,
Right,
right?
right,
There's
right. I
a
mean,
99.9% chance rates stay the same. Nobody expects they're going to cut, but then the real question is, will we get one? Will we get two? And now we see that the probability for two cuts and one taking place in September and then in December, that December cut has risen substantially just after this morning.
yeah, I mean, the December cut now kind of 97%. I mean, almost a certainty. But hey, we still have the Fed meeting this afternoon. But it's interesting because there's also quite a lot going on in the markets. I mean, if you look, for example, at the cryptocurrencies, I mean, Bitcoin and Ethereum both almost up 4% today. On those news?
I think it's just risk on. You see this rally in the equity markets. We're making record highs in the Nasdaq and S&P. We see that the VIX has come down, and we also see those yields dropping substantially.
Yields. I mean, look at this. The 2-year yield down 3.26%. I mean, trading now at levels that we haven't seen since beginning of April.
Yeah,
That's all you
that's
have to say.
good.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. Well, we also need to take a look at Apple. I mean, Apple yesterday just flying high. Today, even a follow through. Look at this. Yesterday, up 7%. Today, another 5%. And just like this, claiming the number one spot in the largest American companies by market capitalization,
Wow.
jumping 2 spots ahead of Nvidia and Microsoft.
That's
Boom.
huge. That's huge. It looked like Nvidia was going to leave Apple in the dust and just take off. And we talked about Microsoft, maybe their market cap and holding the one spot that could potentially change. But Apple jumping, that's big.
But look at this, even Nvidia today up 4.5%, yet Apple just pulling decisively ahead. We talked about it. I mean, this is still a very close race
Sure.
between the top three. I mean, all of them now $3 trillion companies.
That's huge.
Crazy. All right. Let's see. What else is going on? Oracle had some news. Did you see that?
Look at this. Big,
There we
big
go.
jump for Oracle, up 11%. They didn't report the best earnings. So we see that red E in the lower corner. They disappointed on their earnings per share and also their revenue, but they did announce some AI deals with, I think it was Google, Microsoft, and OpenAI, and investors really loving that news.
I mean, right now it's all about AI. Still have the AI craziness going on, and that is driving the markets. I mean, especially with Nvidia, Apple yesterday, the AI news. And if you look at the largest American companies, and if you look here at the top six, Apple, AI, Microsoft, AI, Nvidia, AI, Alphabet, heavily investing in AI, Amazon, AI, Meta, AI. And then we see some other companies, but all of this is driven by the AI craziness.
Sure.
All right, what else? Oh my gosh, did you see the news that the EU announces higher tariffs of up to 38% on Chinese EVs?
I did not see that.
Yeah, I mean that's a big
That
bold
is a
move.
big jump. Yeah.
Now, the question is, will Tesla be hit by this? Because Tesla, what's producing in China? Let's actually take a look and see what effect this has on Tesla here today. So, okay, Tesla up 3%. So it seems that investors are taking it as good news for Tesla. However, we also see that Tesla just been trapped in this range here
Yeah.
between what 190 and 170. So can't break out of this range.
Interesting to see Tesla so quiet when everything else is moving.
Yeah. All right. What else is happening? I mean, we mentioned it. The VIX is now trading below 13 again. But right now, if you look at a 5 minute chart of the S&P, I mean, this morning it was up, up and away, and right now Just hovering around there because in a few hours we still have the Fed meeting.
Yep. And this would be very typical where markets are quiet, waiting for that next data.
Yeah. Want to take a look at some positions?
Sure.
All right, let's do this. So, going over, since we're already here on the WTF, we had actually three new signals
Yeah.
today, and we decided to take one of them. We decided to take AIG.
Yeah. So you see that AXP gave us an entry signal to buy at the open today, and that one it's doing its thing. Pulled back a little bit from the open. Citigroup also a signal, pulling back a tiny bit from the open, and then AIG doing the same thing, but this was the one that we decided to go with.
Right. So, this one, and then we still have DXCM, which has been doing really well, still up 0.5%,
Yeah.
and we'll see what happens there. I mean, DXCM has been interesting because if you look at this, always okay, yay, rallies all the way up there and then pulls back a little bit. And then yesterday also rallied all the way up there, pulled back a little bit. This morning, rallying all the way up there, pulling back a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like it's finding support at that 200-day moving average, and we did have a nice open below entry on this one, so we are profitable, and we'll see if we get an exit signal for tomorrow's open.
Yeah. And then we'll also see if maybe AXP and Citigroup gives us an open below entry tomorrow. We'll
Yeah.
see.
And this is where we used a little discretion. We talked about it with our mastermind group this morning. We decided to go with AIG because it didn't have as much of an overnight reaction. So, with that big reaction to CPI data, the other two stocks had big gaps higher. And we're thinking that with AIG not moving as much, we could go with that. And then if AXP and Citigroup pull back, fill the gap, but then also if there is a reaction to the Fed, it could present us with a great open below entry opportunity.
Yeah. So that's a trade that we took today. Then we do have also our wheel positions. And here on our wheel positions, we do have CSIQ and CSIQ at first this morning.
Yeah.
Fireworks shooting above 19, up 5%. Now pulling back a little bit because it's kind of like, okay, let's wait and see what Powell and the gang says this afternoon. So still up 2.6%. I'm taking this and we just see how sensitive it is to interest rates and how this could move 5-6% in a day.
I mean, pre-market it was up 5% at one point. Now, 2.6% isn't something to sneeze at, but it's about how much it moves in a day.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have Halliburton. Halliburton, this is a trade that you already entered last week,
Yep.
and you sold the 35.50 put. You got a
34.50.
34.50.
Mm-hmm.
You got assigned. I did the same on Monday. So right now we are trading right there at 34.50. So this morning scratching 35, but right now pulling back a little bit. Also waiting what happens here this afternoon.
Yeah,
So,
I've sold calls. Nothing for me to do with this one right now, and you have those puts, and
yeah.
we'll see where this goes by the end of the week.
Okay, and then we have UPS. And what's our little buddy UPS doing there? Opening higher right now around the unchanged mark. UPS just
137.50
gets
seems to be that
pinned there.
number. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it yesterday. If we switch over to a line chart, it is just flatlining here. I mean, it just almost since the beginning of June, if you look at this, I mean, since June 5th, kind of just pinned
Yeah.
there at 137.50.
Can barely move outside of that, at least based on the close.
That's what it looks like right now. All right. So let me switch this back to bars. Hey, I see that you have some fancy notes there. Do you have anything else on your fancy notes, or is it right now time for the dad joke?
I think we could do a trading joke.
A trading
Yeah.
joke. Okay, let's hear it.
What do you call a bear market with no teeth?
I don't know.
A gummy bear market.
Did you come up with the choice? It's a good one.
I had to twist it up.
It's a good one. Okay. So, that joke, you ready? Okay. A genie, you see this bottle thing,
Yeah,
genie,
sure.
appeared and told me I had 3 wishes. And he said, so what's your first wish? And I said, well, I want to be rich. And he said, okay, done. And what's your second wish? Rich?
Okay, okay, that's very good. That's
Okay,
yeah.
you guys vote. You decide of what is the better joke. Leave a comment and we'll take another look. And yeah, the markets are just hanging out there,
Yep,
still up 1% in the S&P, 1.74% in the Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq mainly driven, if we go to the heat map here, by Apple and Nvidia. Look at this. These two giants are battling it out. Nvidia up 4.2%, Apple
crazy.
5.1%.
Yeah,
Tesla up 2.5%, Home Depot up. And other than this, it's kind of a mixed bag because there's still what will the Fed say this afternoon?
yeah. Definitely keep an eye on the Fed.
Yeah.
Could be more fireworks. We'll see.
Right. And just to recap, so this afternoon, for us, since we are in Barcelona, it will be at 8 p.m. So that is 2 p.m. Eastern time. We have the FOMC statement and the economic projections that will include the so-called dot plot, where we
Yep.
hear how many times are they planning to lower interest rates this year and also next year and the year after. But I mean, this year is the most significant one, followed by the press conference that will last probably 30 to 45 minutes, where Powell we'll have to answer questions, especially of what he thinks about the data that came out this morning.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. We'll see if there's follow through or a bit of a reversal.
Well, we will have tapas and cervezas at this time and
Yes.
enjoying this. And if talking about enjoying it, if you enjoyed today's video, including the jokes and all the good information that we had, give us a like. If you feel that this was worth sharing, there's a share button right underneath. And if this is your first time here, click on subscribe because we will be back tomorrow and letting you know what Paul says and how the markets are reacting. Until then, have a great rest of your day.
Happy trading, everybody.